What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back again with some more free agency news, man. Free agency is popping off on another level right now. And today, or right now, we have an update, another Lions update. And this is a big re-signing. It was really that big domino that we were just waiting for it to happen. The Detroit Lions are re-signing safety Tracy Walker to a 3-year deal. So let's get it started.
The city's been down, and it found a way to get up. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. We're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome, everybody, to the video. Glad you guys are here. And we're going to keep this video short and sweet as free agency news continues to come out left and right with re-signings and now other players. I mean, guys are being taken off the board like that, whether it's Christian Kirk up to $17 million. You got the Bears signing Larry Ogunjobi, to $10+ million or like $13 million per year. I mean, deals are going everywhere right now. Hassan Reddick being signed. And the Detroit Lions have made their first pretty big signing, and it was a re-signing of safety Tracy Walker to a 3-year, up to $25 million deal with $17 million guaranteed on that deal. So we don't have any more contract details than that. That is a report that has been given. So on average, that would be like $8.3 million per season. There's probably some incentives in there because it says up to $25 million that he would earn the rest of the money. So I don't know what his cap number is. I would assume at the highest, it's like $8 million for this year, but I'm going to think it's less than that. I would assume it's probably like the $6 million range for cap number this year, which still allows the Lions to have a good amount of money to spend through the rest of free agency. But this was the big one. I mean, Tracy Walker was the big move that it felt like the Lions kind of had to make. And I don't think that this re-signing closes the door on a potential another signing at the safety position or a draft pick at the safety position. This was just a move I thought the Lions had to make. The way that he played last season, the improvement that he saw in the role that he was able to play, because you think about it, for the last couple of years, he's been kind of stuck in that, Patricia defense, which has either had him in the box or playing like a deep free safety, and that's not who he is. He's a split coverage safety that likes to work downhill from that spot. He's still improving in coverage. He'll hit, he will tackle. We saw him light up some dudes. He lit up some running backs as a run defender. But then you also move to the pass coverage side of things. He only had the 1 interception, which came in the final game of the season, but it was his first interception in years. He is really well-rounded, and I think Tracy Walker is going to end up being one of the most well-rounded safeties in National Football League. You can call me crazy, but I think with his size, willingness, and ability to tackle at a high level. Like, some guys will hit, but they'll miss a lot of tackles. Tracy doesn't miss many because he raps and smacks, okay? That's how I put it. Pause, I don't know. That's what he does. But in coverage, he's improving man coverage. He put a focus and emphasis on working on it going back to training camp so that they could have the versatility where when they go pass downs and they go cover zero, he can slide and play man coverage. That doesn't mean tight man coverage. It means off man coverage, but he can play on the tight end. He has the size, which makes him versatile. Not like a Quandre Diggs where he's 5'9", where it's tough to put him on those matchups because he's just completely undersized. T-Walk has the size, but he's also not a pure Malcolm Jenkins, a pure former cornerback that you want to line up in man coverage all the time. It's just a very versatile option that can play deep safety, has range for it, can slide and hit, also can play some man coverage. And what you gotta love the most is the energy that he brings to the table. I am so excited that Tracy Walker is back. It felt like a no-brainer, a must-have that the Detroit Lions would re-sign this safety to another deal. And 3 years, $25 million. I think that's a really nice price to get him because he's not DeMarcus Williams. It's not, the Jesse Bates tag range. It's probably going to be less than Quandre Diggs. PFF is projecting that he gets, about $10 million per year. I think with his age, finally coming off his rookie deal, the guy's going to be one of the more well-rounded safeties in the National Football League, and the improvement that we saw last year just through the season has to make you excited about the future of Tracy Walker with this Lions defense. I still think the board's open to go draft a safety high or sign a different safety because he needs someone with him, but the versatility is going to be key here. And since they brought him back, I think they're going to need another versatile safety to pair him up with. They're going to need another guy that they can pair him with that can do a lot of the same things that he can do, because Tracy Walker's not a pure box guy. He's also not a pure deep guy. He's a guy that needs that versatility. So I think you got to pair him with another guy that could play that kind of role as well, which could be a guy like Kyle Hamilton, less of a guy like Quandre Diggs. A guy that could also bring the versatility to the table is, I think, what you need to pair him with. But Tracy Walker was a must resign. It wasn't even like a thing of, well, Tracy over Marcus. I don't think it's Tracy over Marcus. I think Tracy just had to come back. And you could still try to bring in Marcus. I'm just a little bit worried about how that meshes together. We did the video on Marcus, but I just assumed this was going to happen. I would have been more disappointed if he wasn't brought back because I thought he had to be brought back. So Tracy Walker's a Lion. We'll dive into the film on this a little bit later, but he's back, and I'm so happy that he is back. Sure, there is still the consistency side of it that he's still trying to level out, and I think it's because of the amount of different roles they gave him. I mean, last year it was, it was kind of a move around defensively, trying to figure out where guys best fit. We had a lot of injuries, things like that. They don't give him roles like some of these other safeties, like Diggs doesn't see the box. Diggs plays deep third safety. Tracy Walker gets multiple responsibilities, leads to inconsistent play at times. So, of course, he's working to make that more consistent. But we have some incredible defensive backs coach, and they clearly know where he's good and where he needs some work. And like I said, they were focusing on that. You could see it back in training camp when he was taking extra man coverage reps, working one-on-ones off to the side by himself. And Glenn said this about Tracy Walker. He's bought into everything that we are trying to get done in this defense as far as a safety's perspective. And he's grown. He's grown into that, and he's also become a leader as far as linebackers, as far as getting everybody together and watching some tape. That's what we expect. I think being able to kind of stick him into this defense, understanding what his role is defensively, and kind of take charge of the secondary, really, going forward with some of these other young guys at the cornerback group, things like that. Like, this is a young secondary that is going to have a chance to continue to get better and better, that can really grow together now. I mean, Tracy Walker's locked up. You have an opportunity to have a lot of these young guys grow together with the UDFAs, like the Jerry Jacobs, with the Iffies, depending on Okuda, and Amani's on his last year. And now you bring back a guy like Alex Anzalone on top of that as well. Kind of got like the keys defensively last year.
A few pieces here and there, and some continuity going forward. I know last year was the new year of, it was a year of new regime and new culture and from the past. So I think that going into year two of Dan and Brad, I think that things are definitely looking up.
So a lot of our signings, they're younger players. They're restricted free agents, so they're 26, 25, 27. You're resigning your guys that produced, and Tracy Walker was at the top of that list. I think this Tracy Walker resigning does stick out because it's a move a year in, right? You're a year into this. This is not a guy that they had before. It's not a guy that they have like past connections with. And if you really, honestly, if you went off of 2020, went off 2019, you'd be like, yeah, this guy's not going to get re-signed. But then you go to 2021, he's playing way better, and you're fitting it to what you do defensively, which they try to do all over the place. Actually, what they already talked about doing is changing now their defensive front a little bit to try to fit guys like Levi better to the defensive line based on what they saw in the second half of the season. So doing that with a guy that you don't have connections with, re-signing, that's their biggest free agent signing so far. Obviously, that could change. Pretty big deal to give a guy that you didn't have past connections with, right? Now, they did that with Romeo as well as soon as they joined. But it kind of shows you as a whole that they're taking a step back and they're just looking at this and saying, okay, let's give everybody a shot here. And the guys that we feel like earned it, they're going to come back. And those guys that played well last season, we're going to try to put them in a spot to be great. We're not going to necessarily just say, this is what we do, so we got to get rid of you because you don't fit. It's more like we're going to adjust to what we have. And I thought they did it at the cornerback position. They adjusted their coverage heavy to what they have. They're like, okay, these are how the cornerbacks fit, so we'll play this style of zone coverage defensively. The difference that we have seen already from this regime, from the past regime, is that they have been willing to kind of adjust to their guys and try to figure out where they're best at and then decide based off of that, is it worth going forward with that? And that's what they're trying to do with the D-line as well now versus the past regime, where that was probably the biggest mistake that was made, was like, okay, this is what I do schematically, so we're going to try to fit guys to that. And it led to a lot of moving pieces, and it's tough when you have a lot of moving pieces. But re-signing your guys that you know are going to produce, it's a much safer bet. Things have been putting a lot of depth back into the safety spot, which was very light. Dean Marlowe's out, but everybody else basically back in. I think they could allow Will Harris to be more of just kind of a cornerback going forward. Not sure in sub packages, maybe they try to use him as an extra box guy, and like as a third defensive back, maybe get him on a slot, some tight ends, things like that. I think it's very possible they look at Will Harris and it's like, hey, let's let you be a cornerback going forward. So they still need more safety help. And they still need, to me, another starter aside from Tracy Walker, someone that you could at least compete for that starting role, because right now, I'm not even sure who that is. It's probably CJ Moore, honestly, because I would think Will Harris would stay at safety. You move Will Harris and he'd be the other starter. But I think he'll kind of stick at cornerback. So the Lions will have to add to that.
And Marcus Williams is a player.
Yeah, he's one of my close buddies. I was drafted with him in New Orleans in 2017, that was. And, he's a hard worker, super talented, super athletic. He's young. But he's wise and experienced. He's started since day one in New Orleans, and honestly, he's a freak athlete and a great guy. Does all the right things, and one of the guys that you definitely want in your locker room.
You guys had quite the draft class that year. Are you you try to sell him on joining you up here? Is that anything you'll do the next 48 hours?
I mean, if Dan and Brad give me the go ahead, yeah, I definitely will.
3-year, $25 million deal, $17 million guaranteed as the free agency period continues. We'll see if we get a big move. Obviously, the Allen Robinson rumors are there. There's a lot going on right now, but Tracy Walker is back, and that's kind of all I was waiting for. The Charles Harris one, I think it's more likely he hits free agency, which he is, and you just see where the price range is because he's a pass rusher. But Tracy was just like, you got to bring this guy back. You cannot let Tracy go after what he did last season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below within this one. Give me a grade on this re-signing. I love it. Thank you, Brad, for watching, and I'm out.